The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
The 44 gets loose off of corner number 4. It's going to be a photo finish to the line in the grass, but the 44 will hang on for the win. Here he comes with the crossover. Fellison to the inside. Is it going to be a Las Vegas photo finish? They touch. They wreck. Who's going to get it? Upside down. Who's going to get it?
Fellison gets it.
Ooh, by himself. Now he has the 72 of O'Connor. It's going to be a 2v2 race to the checkers. 2 up top, 2 to the bottom. It's going to be Ingram. It's going to be Rainville. Who's going to get it at the stripe? Photo finish. It's going to be Rainville. Is there enough? This is going to be a close finish. What is going to happen? Is there enough fuel to get him around 2 more corners? He didn't have enough. The final corner. There goes Zach Nichols. Sarah ran out with 3 corners to go, and Zach Nichols will win here at Mostport. And is he going to go for the last-ditch effort? Is he going to use the back bumper? What will Devin Serra do? We head into corner number 3. He's going to sail it on in there. Does he get to the bumper? He turns him. He turns it for the win. He wrecks him. We saw how ruddy, is that a word? Ruddy?
I don't know. Just go with it.
All right, we'll go with it. We've seen how ruddy turn 3 is getting. And
So these guys, once again, doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go back green flag racing here behind the iRacing.com Facebook pace car.
don't know where that came from, but we'll let it slide.
What was I thinking?
In southern Florida lies one of the most famous ovals in the NASCAR schedule. It was originally built as a rectangle, as a miniature Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and in many configurations has led us to a 20-degree banked, quick 1.5 miler that's gained its fame from the NASCAR Championship weekend. Well, it does have a roval inside, and that's where we're going to be tonight. The Red Sox Racing League is going to take their GT4 and touring car campaign into the interior confines of this indeed Homestead Miami Speedway for 35 minutes of action. It's going to be a load of fun here on PTR TV, and I'm glad to bring you the coverage. It's myself, Corey Silva, and I do have a co-commentator with me tonight. Usually these are one-man shows, but I have my buddy Tyler Orn, who's going to be joining me for, again, the Red Sox Racing League here on the Roval. So we haven't covered one of these. I haven't covered one of these, Tyler, and these guys haven't raced on a Roval in quite some time, at least to my knowledge, so should be interesting for all involved here tonight.
Well, Corey, it's been a few weeks, but as always, it's great to be up here with you in the booth. I absolutely love this Red Sox Racing League. The multi-class action we have is always great to watch, and this is a true roval. This particular layout is 1/2 oval, 1/2 road course, and we were talking before the broadcast, this is really resembling a mini Daytona layout. The draft's going to be very important in the oval section. These guys are going to be going over 160 mile an hour into turn number 1, and I expect a lot of great action and a lot of strategy tonight.
Yes, indeed, that is the case. As I'll kind of go to my blimp cam here and let you guys see the layout here at Homestead, and you can see the front stretch on the top half of your screen. They're going to dive to the left into the infield, a couple quick left-handers, but there's a little bit of a quick left-to-right chicane type deal. Then we have a long back straightaway, which leads you into another long, I guess you can't have 2 back straightaways, Tyler, but there's 2 very long interior straightaways here, whatever we want to call them. So there are a bunch of passing zones, and of course, once you do get out of the infield, you have a long, high-speed trip around the NASCAR 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's double hairpins really in the infield. You have these long straights and these tight turns, a little bit technical, but once you get back on the true backstretch on the oval portion of the track, you are flat out all the way past the start-finish line. I noticed the GT4s were going about 5 or 10 mile an hour faster going into one than the touring cars, but still they're carrying in a lot of speed back onto the road course section.
Yes, they are, and we did talk about in race number 1 that we thought the draft was going to be a little bit more important than it was, Tyler, but it's definitely going to be even more exemplified here. I cannot imagine a circumstance where the draft is not going to definitely change the racing here at Homestead, as we do have a minute and a half. I do want to apologize last week for missing Long Beach. I was actually quite looking forward to the street circuit for that race, but Windows updates decided that Corey wasn't doing a broadcast that night because my computer definitely was not too happy. But again, ready and raring here tonight. Terry Dahl, I covered last 2 weeks ago at Barber. He nearly won that race, did lose out on the last few laps, but top of the board in GT4 with who is that? Brian Irby leading our TCR qualifying lineups.
Yeah, if you look at the touring car standings tonight in the championship, you've got Mark Wilson currently in first place, Kevin Kyle in second, and Rex Hoyle in third, along with Terry Dahl is your current points leader, with David Berry in second and Dwayne McCarthy rounding out the podium. But yeah, Brian Irby, I believe, is your pole sitter at the moment. Actually, this is your pole sitter for TCR, and then of course Terry, pole sitter right now in the GT4s.
Yes, indeed. And Mark Wilson was last week's winner at Long Beach, from what I was told, and that was actually a home race for him. He is a Californian, from the information I've gathered, so he was looking forward to winning that race, and unfortunately did not get to watch it back. So again, I do apologize for that, but that just gives you more motivation to want to win tonight. So now the ticker is down to 0. Now we are in essentially cool down time. So if you are on a live lap, iRacing does give you about a minute and a half to finish it. So I did see Reed Rundle. I don't know if he got this lap in, but we'll see if indeed he does. But looks like we do have 19 guys signed up for today. Pretty even split, Tyler. About 10 in GT4, 9 in TCR. So definitely a good split, which should help out in giving those class battles.
Yeah, some great competition throughout this field, and you can tell that the touring cars are roughly 3 seconds slower than the GT4s, but I know the race we watched together a few weeks back, Corey, was fantastic with the battles in both classes, the touring cars in particular. But you got to take note that anything can happen in these races. Pit strategy is going to be essential as well. These guys got to figure out when to pit, and also should they pit with another driver and keep that draft.
Yeah, I just heard in chat that Austin Knight, who is second in our TCR lineup thus far, actually had kind of Dale Jr. problem, Tyler. His steering wheel fell off mid-race, probably due to the abrupt and the bumps at Long Beach. I don't think he'll have that problem here tonight, so hopefully he does have some better situations, because I remember hearing that with Dale Jr. Was it at Talladega, I believe, where the steering wheel came off mid-race? Not something you want to encounter.
Pocono, but nonetheless, I remember him having to grab that shaft and put it back on, and I think I know he was wearing a racing glove, but his hands were pretty raw after that.
I'm sorry. The 13-year-old me is just laughing right now what you said. But getting back out of the gutter, we have. I think if you put.
I wasn't even thinking that, Corey.
Yeah,
you're dirtier than I am, but
yeah, can't help it. Can't help it. But the ticker is officially down to 0. We have an instant segue out of that awkward conversation, and what we are going to do is go trackside down for the PTR TV starting lineup here today for the Red Sox Racing League. On today's GT4 in overall pole, with that lap time of 1 minute and 20.448, Terry Dahl is going to lead us down here this evening. So congratulations to him. Go for that lap, and Reed Rundle going to be in second position. In third, we have David Berry with Mitch Heller in the fourth spot. Adam Jones, I believe he's a newcomer. I don't recognize that name. In fifth, Ben Gerard in sixth. Then we have Mark Kedrowski in seventh. Dwayne McCarthy, he is going to be in eighth. And James Prostell Jr. in ninth. Ed Sutcliffe in 10th. And that's going to be our GT4 class.
And on the touring car side, Brian Irby is your pole sitter tonight. On the outside pole, it's the 21 of Austin Knight. In the third position, the 323 of Mark Wilson. Starting fourth, it's the 57 of Jason Breifogel. In the fifth position is the 505 of Rex Hoyle, and to his outside, starting sixth, the 65 of Kevin Kyle. Rolling off seventh tonight in the 01, it's Les Turner. And in eighth place, it's the 81 of Bill Paultucko. And rounding out the field in the 72, it's Chris Jimenez.
I don't know why you keep wanting to say Paultucko. Paul Lucky.
Paul Lucky. My goodness, my bad.
Yeah.
There, Corey.
Yeah, you keep adding a T in there. I always thought it's kind of funny. But either way, that is our starting lineup and our keys to the race, sponsored by Still Looking for a Sponsor. Of course, slipstreaming. The draft is going to be the number one aspect of today's race. We believe, anyways. We could be wrong, but we believe as such. Class traffic will be very interesting, especially at the high speeds with the draft in play. And, of course, maximize your pit stops. It did cost a couple races with too much fuel being taken, and we'll see how that fares tonight in our race details. Sponsored by Sunshine Boy on Twitch. 35-minute races, points penalties for every 6 incidents, and I don't know why that caution laps thing doesn't keep going away on me, but caution laps don't count because we don't have any caution laps. So that is our race here tonight, kind of going through our pace lap through our infield. You can see this is going to lead up right now where we are on track, Tyler, to the most important turn on the track. Where they are right now, it's going to put them on that left-hander to get onto the NASCAR oval, and if you have a good run onto the NASCAR oval, that's going to help you all the way down to start-finish.
No, it certainly will. Corey, you're coming off of turn number 8 and a turn number 9 onto that backstretch. You really want to get a lot of momentum so you can carry it all the way into 3, past 4, and back into turn number 1. And again, if you lose the draft with some of these guys, I suspect that you're going to be falling behind very quickly.
Yes, indeed. We'll see what that slipstream range is. Sometimes it's about 0.7 of a second. Other times it's upwards of even a second, 1.1 seconds. So we'll have to see what exactly that range is. How far can you fall back and still gain time to take the lead at the stripe? Of course, you don't have to pass them 100% at the stripe. All you need is an inch at that line, and that will give you the checkered flag. But it's a Red Sox Racing League here today on PTR TV, round number 4 of 6 of their spring mini season. Terry Dahl on the pole looking for his first win of the season. Will it come tonight on the high banks? Let's find out together. Pace Truck's going to take that hard left turn into the confines of the pit lane here at Homestead, and we're going to get 35 minutes of action underway. We're waiting and waiting and waiting for Barney to give us that wave of the green flag. Just waiting and still waiting. Waiting some more. A lot of waiting. Finally, we're green flag.
So far, pretty clean start. We'll see how it pans out.
Whoa.
Going into 1. Oh, there's contact. Car around into the wall.
Yeah, that was Ben Gerard in the 007. He went around, and I'll say right off the get-go, we saw the battle for the lead instantly change. We'll go back and see what happened to Gerard there. Again, right off the bat, that 944 machine. Mark Kedrowski, it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like Gerard may have spun himself out there, to my opinion.
And Reed Rundle currently in the lead with Terry Dahl right behind him, David Berry in third.
Yeah, it's something that we've noticed, that I've noticed at least about Dahl, is that he is very, very cautious. Our first race that we covered at Okayama, I couldn't remember where it was Okayama. He ended up self-spinning on the first lap of the race and then spent the entire remainder of the event in catch-up mode. So now he's maybe being a little bit cautious on the cold tires, on the cold brakes. Lost the lead from the get-go, but now we're going to get to really test that slipstream out first time on the banking.
Yeah, now we've got the TCR who just took the green flag. They're going into turns 1 and 2. A much cleaner start from them, getting pretty spread out at the moment.
Yeah, completely forgot. We had so much action in GT4. Remember, the TCRs do have that 30-second delay. So right now they are on the first of two back stretches. I guess I don't know what to differentiate as here comes GT4 into complete lap number 2, and Dahl is stalking the back bumper of Rundle.
Yeah, he is definitely stalking Corey, and I got to tell you, you really got to be careful going into one with that high speed. They did a great job the first time around.
Someone into the inside fence back there. Mitch Heller in that number 45 ride. We'll quickly go check that on replay. I think he just got a little bit loose exiting that little sweeper there. And this is the end of the, I kind of call it a little chicane type deal. And yeah, just got a little bit loose, overcorrected, boom, into the barriers.
Yep. But Mitch Heller is still in 4th position. They're getting pretty spread out the moat, but some great battles throughout the field.
TCR. Here we go with Austin Knight trying to go to the outside of rather. I'm trying to see who it is. Trying to get the numbers right here. Bazooka to the inside. That is Brian Irby. And Austin Knight in that 21 machine. They are in a close battle for that that TCR lead as they're in the infield section right now.
Yeah, I thought Austin Knight for a second was going to give old Brian Irby the bump, but backed off there. There's definitely a bit of a draft going down that straight, Corey. They're all lined up and trying to stay in the slipstream.
Yeah, it's kind of a matter, too, of where we do have such heavy and drastic braking zones here. How aggressive do you want to be? And look at the snaking down the straightaway. Do you want to take the defensive line, or do you want to have the kind of the more traditional line? He went with that traditional line, a little bit of contact on the exit here. Now what's going to happen with the draft? That's Mark Wilson right behind. You put two cars side by side, the hole in the air is that much bigger, so that may work into Wilson's advantage. We'll see which line he thinks is going to prevail.
And they're side by side going into 3, Irby and Knight. Right now Irby's got the advantage coming off of 4.
And then here comes Wilson to the inside of Knight. May have a little 3-wide battle here heading into turn 1. This is turn 1, the little flick, but here's essentially turn 2 where things start to close in just a little bit. While this is happening, we are battling for the GT4 lead as well. Dahl took the lead, and Rundle on the outside entering 1. Rundle is a lot more aggressive on the brakes, at least he was before. But Dahl kind of picked up the mow there and was able to hold off. But look at Adam Jones in the 77.
Oh, he's going in hot. Wow, I thought for sure he's going to run into the side of him.
But he doesn't have the position on this corner. But now they're going to come onto that straightaway where Rundle will have the position. But no, he's going to drop in line. And look at the big boy BMW making some headway, that 77.
It's definitely a big boy out there, Corey, showing its muscle right now.
Yeah, we haven't seen the BMWs be used too often. I think because every car, I mean, it's not they're BOP matched, but they're not dead equal like you see on the NASCAR side where they're exact same physics. So they are BOP matched. So at some tracks, some cars are going to be advantageous. At some tracks, the opposite will ensue. And these guys do have the opportunity to change cars weekly. They don't have to stick to the same car over the course of the season. So first time we've seen a BMW kind of being command and opportunity to win a race. We'll see how that does happen. But oh no,
right now,
and TCR, 2 guys going off there.
And Adam Jones looking to the outside.
I just saw Hoyle and Wilson going wide there. And so much action to cover here. Let me go back on replay and check that out because they both went super wide.
Adam Jones overshot turn number 1, had the lead and lost it. Back to 3rd.
Yes, indeed, as we do have on replay now. And so much to cover here. Whoa! That yellow car just absolutely murdered the back of the 323. But back to live action. Adam Jones did take the lead for a brief moment. He said, now I wish I can go back on replay, but if I go on replay, I'm going to miss something else. So we'll stick live.
Great battles everywhere, Corey. It's hard to keep track, but right now Terry Dahl is in the lead of GT4 in the overall. Reed Rundle in second, Adam Jones third, David Berry in fourth, and Mark Kudrowski rounding out the top 5 a little farther back.
Yeah, this is definitely the first race all season that we have seen, or I've seen, or everyone has seen there, that we've had so many people that are within this close of proximity, 5-6 laps into the event. So
great TCR battle here too. Corey, Austin Knight and Brian Irby going at it again.
Yes, they are. We'll see if something happens there. But heading into the braking zone, you can see Les Turner in the Batman machine getting out of the way of GT4, and Terry Dahl. He is lap 1. He kind of tiptoed it into turn number 1 and lost the lead, but he has definitely gained the mojo. Actually pulling away on the braking zone into turn number 1, gets into the kitty litter there just a little bit, as did Adam Jones. And here we are catching that red TCR. Trying to see who that is. I think that is Chris Jimenez. See how this affects the lead battle for GT4.
Yeah, he's going to catch up to him here, probably going into the next turn. See if Chris stays to the outside. I think he will.
Yes, he will, and it may affect Rundle's exit. No, he will. He'll be just fine. Jones will have to catch up, so we'll see what does happen. And quickly going back to TCR, Knight and Irby, again, still going at it. Irby is the bubblegum, and 21 is the yellow.
Yeah, Knight's trying to take that outside closer to the wall to angle himself better into 1. Doesn't have anything for him yet, though.
Not yet. It does look like, again, the braking zone into 1 is really, really important, and they were really close. Rundle was definitely close. No, Dahl went a little bit wide into the grass, slows him up a little bit. Here comes Jones to the inside. It looked like Rundle was going to go for a 3 wide for a brief moment. Thought better of it as we go side by side through the flick.
Yeah, I think Jones has it at the moment.
And then Dahl's going to go first to third here as we're going to catch another TCR just to cause a little bit more interest into the mix here. So again, it's crazy how it works out. You get a run, and what do you do with it? And 3 guys get a run at the same time, and it worked out for Jones. Now, can the big boy BMW, say that 10 times fast, can it stay away? But just as big as that machine is, I almost wonder if it puts out a bigger draft.
I think there's something to running the BMW here. Adam Jones must know a little thing or two about this car and the way it operates on a more oval, high-speed type track. And he can definitely muscle the car a little more than some of these other vehicles.
But they do go by I believe that's Bill Paulucky, I believe. Yes, it is. He is going to go 1 lap down for the overall lead. He's running 7th in class, but now this is where the move's going to be by Rundle if he does choose to make it. I don't know how dirt got into the entrance turn 1 there, but somehow it did. But looks like a rather uneventful entry to that corner, and Dahl is starting to drop back. He's now in the clutches of David Berry.
Yeah, right now Rundle running 2nd. Just trying to close the gap on Adam Jones.
Paulucky will get out of the way, and going back to TCRs for a brief moment. It looks like Breifogel in the 57, he's 3rd in class, and Kevin Kyle, he is just slightly out of range here, but still within striking distance. So again, about 5 guys in the mix of it in each class essentially at this point.
Yeah, great battle still between Irby and Knight. They seem to have stabilized, though, at the moment. Just a couple car lengths back from him.
And they are. The leaders will now be catching our TCR lead battle right now. So the leaders in GT4, you can see about a conga line of 4 or 5 guys ahead. But through all this mess, Jones is now starting to pull the legs out on Rundle and Dahl. Now he's up by 1 1/3 on Rundle and almost 3+ seconds on Dahl.
Yeah, so far so good for Jones, but there is a ton of lap traffic coming up here. Mainly those TCR cars are going to be in his way, and we'll see how he navigates the traffic. It's getting thicker and thicker as he goes through this infield section.
And he's catching it at the worst possible moment through the, I'm calling it a flick, unless if you have a better terminology for it. I don't know what to call that little switchback, but through that little flick section where it is single file, he kind of caught some drivers there. As see Rundle is trying to navigate the traffic as well. Got the gap down just a little bit from 1.3 down to about a second even, but he may be able to use these lappers as a little bit of a draft pick, kind of a reverse what we usually see. Using the lappers to your benefit could maybe help him out a little bit.
Yeah, so far he's kept his distance from second place, Reed Rundle. As we go down this high-speed section onto the backstretch. So far, Adam Jones doing a great job using that draft, I think, making those passes.
And Irby he got out to about a half second on Knight, but a half second is looking as if it's perfect draft range, because Knight was able to get essentially all the way to the back bumper of Irby, but the leader of GT4 is directly behind him. So how is Jones going to interact with this lead battle for TCR?
He's going for it right now. He took very aggressive move to the inside.
Oh no!
He spins! Adam Jones.
And look at all this. He's back to fourth in class. Terry Dahl is going to take the lead from all that. We'll go back on replay from our chopper cam. You can see that big dive that you talked about, Tyler. He gets in there and seems all as well. He got the left rear in the grass. That's what it was. Left rear in the grass, getting ready for the flick, and then that was enough to send him around. So now Terry Dahl is going to take the lead, and he's going to have it by 2/10 over Reed Rundle. Back to kind of where we started.
Yeah, Adam Jones was very aggressive through that opening section. I thought he would be a little more patient, especially since he was coming up on the class leaders, but just pushing a little too hard. But again, we're only about 18 minutes into this race, still have some time. Luckily he didn't damage the car.
And a pit stop, of course, cannot forget that. So someone on the access road there.
Austin Knight coming in right now.
Now, this is one of those pit roads, Tyler, that they're not going to be used to, because you have to send it as hard as you can and stop. So it's really easy to test yourself and really push the boundaries is harder than you will at any other track. So very easy to get a speeding penalty the way the pit road's configured here.
Yeah, and we'll see how long he's in the pits, because I know the race that we watched, Corey, a lot of different strategies. Some guys took a lot of fuel, some took very little. Yeah, very quick pit stop for Austin Knight back out there. Must have been a relative splash and go.
Yeah, I can't remember what the exact situation was, but I remember the one driver had about a 7-second stop and another driver had about a 20-second stop, and that difference ended up being the difference on the track. So definitely need to have that fuel calculator out yet. Crew chief app, whatever you use to facilitate.
David Barry, some contact. Jason Greifvogel.
Yeah, just
great job not losing it there.
Again, class interaction. I mean, they're not playing nice today, apparently. So
Reed Rundle going to the inside of our TCR leader right now, Brian Irby.
Yes. So again, Terry Dahl and Reed Rundle. I know you didn't get to catch it, Tyler, but at Barber, these two were absolutely going at it. And I thought Dahl was going to have it, but then Rundle was able to take the lead through class traffic and held on for the win. So Dahl kind of in opposite position here. The biggest question I'm going to have is Jones went from about 4 3/4 seconds back. He's 3.5. Is he going to be able to do the spin and win? Can he gain that much time on track?
I think he can. He's going to have to be pretty much perfect the rest of this race, but with the right pit strategy, we know he has the speed. It's just going to take him pretty much the entire rest of the race to catch back up.
Yeah, David Berry will be the recipient of the second place spot, as he does get by Rundle in that 43 machine. He's quickly scouring the telemetry for TCR. Luckily, they're basically all on the same screen right now, which does make it a little bit easier. But Irby's still leading the class, and Greifvogel, remember, he was we were talking about him just being on the cusp of closing in for that lead battle, but now he's in second within slipstream range, and same as Kevin Kyle. So essentially the TCRs are starting to rubber band themselves together.
No, they are, and that's what we noticed throughout this series. Seems like the TCRs stay very compact. I'm not sure what it is about the cars, but they stay very competitive. And even if they get a little bit spread out, they seem to have that rubber band effect to come back together for a great finish.
Yeah, I don't know if you see it on your end, Tyler, but there's like a big dirt patch on the entry.
Going into one? Yep, I see it.
And I don't see any gravel. I don't see any sand pits. So I don't know who went to the beach and just decided to drop the sand. I mean, we are in southern Florida, so I guess a beach isn't too abstract, but interesting indeed how that got there. But kicking up some dust, losing a little bit of grip into the braking zone, sure as heck isn't going to help anybody's cause. But Rundle closing on to the back bumper of Berry with the benefit of the slipstream. So we'll see if he does if he's able to take advantage of it on back straightaway number 2. His front stretch. Actually, we have 4 straightaways here, Taylor. I don't know how to name them. There's front straightaway, there's the oval back straightaway, and then there's 2 straightaways in the infield. So these are, my brain cannot compute how to name these, so I guess hopefully everyone can follow along with us.
Race car of David Berry going into 3 and 4, and Jones not that far behind. Terry Dahl still has a pretty significant lead, but these drivers, I think they stay in the draft and work together. They can catch back up to him.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that Rundle, well, I thought he was going to take a stab at it, but indeed decided to just kind of let it play out for a brief moment. So he is definitely taking it easier on the brakes than he was before, much to my surprise, but we'll see what he does choose to do. Probably after pit stops, but yeah, Jones, he was 4 seconds, he was 3.5. Well, look where he is now. He's right back to where he started. Now he's going to have to go and pass these guys all over again, and the hardest part of making these passes, Tyler, is you have to get away. If you can't get away, essentially, you know, we'll call it the rubber band effect. You're stuck in that rubber band effect for the whole race.
I wonder too if these guys are going to try to pit together or do their own thing, because I believe it was Knight came in real early all by himself, no drafting help whatsoever. I don't know if these guys are thinking about that or they're just trying to do their own strategy.
Yeah, Knight is now, it's hard to tell where telemetry is, but I think he's about a lap off of even your leader. I'm trying to, it's really hard the way iRacing gives us the telemetry of how far the classes are behind each other. Actually, he's 33 seconds off the class lead. So if I can pull up my back end stats here, it looks like at least he spent 37 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. And he's 34 seconds back, but that does not account for the time you lose on the access road. So I would gather that it's probably about a 42-second delta, maybe 42-second delta from entering the pit entry access lane to exiting off of turn 2 on the oval. Actually, no, you don't do a turn 2 on the oval here. You enter on the infield, so again, more math, more confusion, but probably about 38, 39 seconds, I'd say, would be your overall pit delta. And if he's up by 33 seconds, I think he'd have the lead when it's all said and done.
I don't believe anyone else is pitted at the moment. As I'm looking here at our TCR class, Brian Irby still has a pretty decent lead over Kevin Kyle in second, with Rex Hoyle right now in third. But I keep waiting for these guys to come in and pit. Knight was so early.
Yeah, Breyfogle did pit. Breyfogle and Knight are in very close proximity right now in one of the back stretches in the infield, so as we were talking about earlier. So they are pretty much going to be drafting each other, and that's going to help them gain that time. Mark Wilson also did pit. He's not too far off the back of them, but still waiting. Ed Sutcliffe has pit as well for GT4. He's on his pit out lap. James Prostel Jr., he's running out there, has yet to pit. Just coming.
Change for third. Corey, we've got Adam Jones. Went right by Reed Rundle.
Yeah, so Rundle back to fourth. He's kind of been, you know, pinballing across the standings thus far, but look at Dahl, lost all of that lead. He was up by a second. Now he's up by absolutely nothing. Here comes David Berry for a shot at the overall lead, coming to 14 minutes to go.
Those top four have really separated themselves from the rest of the field.
So I'll show our lap times on the left side of the display right now, and top four all within 0.3 of each other in that 1:20 gap. And then in TCRs, top four essentially, you know, right around that 1:24. So if you're in the main train, if you will, essentially you're going to be within 1/10 of each second.
We've got drivers coming in.
Yep, here
Terry
comes Dahl. Now, how many times in the NASCAR races has a driver overshot the access road into the grass? Many a time, but Dahl will avoid that mistake, and I think he had a conservative entry, so.
Oh, Reed Rundle trying to make a move on I think it was David Berry tried to make a move.
And Adam Jones
backed off.
Yep.
Adam Jones has the lead.
Yeah, I think he got it through the.
Very
no!
loose. He about did it again.
Same spot as well. He's really trying to set himself up for the flick and the flick back to the right. And when he sets himself up, he's getting very wide and getting into the grass there. But we'll see what does happen. He's getting very wide again. I think he learned the hard way the first time, but how long do you want to keep doing that is the million-dollar question. He's at 0.7 now, so, but I have to imagine pit stops will be within a lap or two. But you want to get, I would say, Tyler, you want to get over a second. I think within a second, is David Berry, he was wiggling back and forth akin to being out of fuel, but that doesn't work on the sim, so.
Well, now they're both coming in right now.
Yep.
Adam Jones. Reed Rundle does stay out, but David Berry's right there with him.
Now, can Berry, how hard is he going to go to gain that time on pit entry? He's going to, I think he drove it a little bit more aggressively than Dahl did on entry. I can tell you that Dahl's pit lane delta was 41.7 seconds with a 16-second stop. The other guys in GT4 that have pit were 13 and 14-second pit stops. So Dahl seems to have taken more fuel than everybody else. So we'll see how that does play out in the grand scheme of things.
Reed Rundle was out here all by himself, all alone, going through the infield section down one of the many straights we have here on this layout. But he's going to have to come in here, I would assume, within the next lap or so.
Kevin Kyle in the pits for the TCR lead. And here goes Berry exiting. Remember I don't know why I was thinking that there was an oval pit exit here. I'm thinking of the wrong configuration of this place. But Jones did get about 1.5 seconds through the pit lane sequence compared to Berry, which is quite interesting because Berry's pit lane delta was 0.7 seconds faster. So how he gained that time, I have absolutely no idea. But Dahl is only about 1 second off of Berry. But here comes Rundle on that pit entry road, and we'll see how good of a stop he has and where he shakes out. I'll tell you, he sent it in there harder than anybody we've seen thus far.
And Austin Knight has taken the lead back in the TCR class, but he's got company right behind him. Jason Breifogel and Brian Irby.
Yep, Irby.
Second and third.
Irby, who's led the most laps in that class, and Kevin Kyle has been sneaking at the end of this pack, but hasn't stayed in it enough. Whoa, locking it up on entry is Knight. I'm predicting a photo finish in TCR. I'm calling it now, Tyler.
A photo finish in both classes, Corey, at the rate we're going.
Yeah, well, I hope that's the case, and hopefully I'm good enough on camera to catch it all if it does happen. But again, this is what we haven't really focused too much on a TCR draft battle. So here comes Breifogel to the inside. He was about 0.4 back and exiting the infield. And
Reed Rundle hit the grass. Sorry, Corey, going through the infield section, turns 1 and 2, saved it.
Yeah, again, so much to follow and so little time to do it. I'll quickly catch that on replay. We'll see. He was getting by David Berry, and yeah, I don't know if there was some netcode contact there because that car kind of just jutted straight. But regardless, he was able to slow it down enough to retain control of the vehicle, which is most important.
Breifogel does have the lead right now in TCR, but Knight on his bumper And then Irby right behind him, along with Kevin Kyle in 4th.
And Jones is just kind of on a, what are we on, a Thursday cruise right now. And looking at the aesthetics, I think he literally is driving into the sunset, I believe. So
and maybe I should take back my photo finish for GT4.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how spread out they were. But
yeah, he literally is driving into the sunset here. I don't think the lights will prevail, you know, make this end up being a night race, but very, very close to it. But the one thing with Jones is we know he does push it. He's not on an easy streak because he's leading this race. He is still, you know, at 100%, and he did make one mistake already, so will he make another one? And his last mistake cost him about 4.5 seconds, Tyler. So if he gets to a 4.5 second lead and he makes the same spin, theoretically he'd still be the leader. So we'll see if that plays out.
I think Reed Rundle might have had a penalty of some sort. He's back on pit road. That's going to take him completely out of contention.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that would have done. Whether it was some kind of race control penalty or an admin penalty, not too sure. But we'll see indeed what the case may be. Terrible luck for him. Yeah, he's still parked. His pit box time right now over 26 seconds. So I'll follow that on the background here as we'll take a look at our TCR battle. Looks like Breyfogle is slightly starting to pull away on Knight. We'll pull up our lap times on the left side of your display. And Jones in the 120s for GT4. And I'll tell you, Dwayne McCarthy also in the 20s, but Barry and Dahl almost a second slower. So Jones is most certainly the fastest, and Breyfogle is running, you know, comparable times to the guys behind him, but he's just far enough ahead where I don't think the draft is helping out as much as maybe Austin Knight would need.
Yeah, Austin Knight really needs to push a little bit. He's got a GT4 car. I think that's Dwayne McCarthy. That might give him an opportunity. He's looking to the inside.
Dwayne McCarthy into the grass. That's going to throw off Breyfogle there. And the class interaction here has definitely thrown a couple curveballs into the mix for these guys at different times here. And McCarthy is going to get right in the way of Knight. Which is going to give Breyfogle a chance to pull away farther. You can see the lights flashing there. I don't think Knight's too happy about that because this is separating him from the class leader and potentially taking his opportunity at a win away.
Yeah, Knight is not happy at the moment. That is for sure. And again, I believe that's a GT4 car.
Yeah, certainly
Dwayne
is.
McCarthy, so
and look at him on it.
What is going on right now?
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of a problem with McCarthy because he's fast, but then he's having issues in the turns.
You can see
that's just throwing off the entire rest of the field.
You can see the lights flashing there from Knight out of displeasure. Now it's almost like it does happen where you have a driver who's kind of off the pace, but he's through the slower parts of the track. You're actually faster than him, so it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, really, because if you're in the way, you're going to be out of the way in a different part of the track. Kind of just a weird position to be in. But our battle that was the lead battle for the majority of this race, Knight and Irby, now is the battle for second and third as Breyfogle pulls away by the better part of about a second. But McCarthy's still just... Yeah, McCarthy is just not good in the infield, Tyler, and it's bringing them back to him, which is just making these little awkward interactions.
Knight, I'm sure, wasn't happy with all that because he was in a position to try and take the lead, and he got held up, and then McCarthy actually made the pass on the oval section, and I think he's going to eventually be able to get away from Breyfogle. That's just a tough break for Knight, but yeah, that's how it goes sometimes with multi-class racing.
Yeah, he's a second back, which is kind of right at the cusp of what I would consider to be drafting range. We'll go on the back bumper cam. You can see the sun right off yonder on oval turn 2. And Knight is back by about 1.1 seconds. And I'm just looking at the ticker here, and it's not really going down. So I think that is out of drafting range, and it's going to take a mistake. It goes down a little bit now, but 4 minutes left in the race is only going to be roughly 3, maybe 4 laps. So, you know, 100th here and there ain't going to be enough.
Yeah, he's going to need Breifogel to make some kind of a mistake, I think, for him to catch back up. But we've seen this happen before. I've watched a lot of races, Corey, and one little mess up, especially on a road course like this, you hit the grass or hit a bump just right, and it can send you out of control.
Yep, so we'll quickly go over our GT4 field very quickly. Jones is up by about 5 seconds now. Berry in second, Dahl in third. Dwayne McCarthy, we were just talking about him quite a bit. He's in fourth. Ed Sutcliffe is in fifth. James Prostel Jr. is in sixth, and Reed Rundle. Don't know what happened to him to instigate that long pit stop, but he's in seventh. And then we have Breifogel, who is up by about almost 1.5 seconds now. I think that race is pretty much done there. And Austin Knight in second. He does have that 33 of Ed Sutcliffe to his inside. Brian Irby in third. Kevin Kyle in fourth. Rex Hoyle in fifth. Mark Wilson sixth. Chris Jimenez in seventh. Bill Paulucky in eighth. And then Les Turner basically out of the race in ninth. And then we also have Kodrowski, Heller, and Gerard out of the race for GT4.
Corey, I got to tell you, thinking of Adam Jones, and you know I'm a very big West Virginia fan, but we had Adam Pac-Man Jones back in the day, and remember he did a lot of kick returns, and he would just run away from the rest of the field and get the touchdown. And right now that's what Adam Jones is doing, just running away from David Berry and Terry Dahl at the moment.
Yes, exactly the case. And again, the Lone Ranger, big boy BMW in the field. There's a bunch of Aston Martins, a couple Porsches. We have one McLaren, but basically these guys, this is a Porsche and Aston Martin field, and here comes the BMW to who says the big boy can't run, I guess, if you want to kind of bring football into the next step. But he's up by 5.5, and it does look like, well, we were calling 2 photo finishes. I think we're going to have 0 because Breifogel has pulled out to out of drafting range, and 1 3/4 seconds, 1.5 seconds or so.
This Ed Scuff, though, that's a GT4 car. I think held up Breifogel a little bit.
Now
Breifogel actually went to that inside. Now he pulls to the outside.
Now Knight could try to use Sutcliffe as a little bit of slipstream there, maybe as almost like a liaison to get to Breifogel, but I don't think he's close enough to it, and he's just not getting through the infield close enough. Now we're at 1 minute 10 seconds. Let's see where GT4 is. GT4 is in the infield right now, so it will be white flag once GT4 hits the stripe, unless iRacing wants to confuse me, which they've done many a time. But it should be white flag for the race upon Jones taking the stripe this next time by.
Well, we may not have a photo finish for first, Corey, but I think second and third, there's a potential between Terry Dahl and David Berry. Those guys are still pretty close as they go into turn number 3.
Yeah, if Dahl can stay within a half second exiting the final hairpin, you know, presenting onto the oval, I think he has a fighting chance for that position. As iRacing hasn't scored the white flag yet, but we would infer that this would be the white flag because they will take 0 seconds while they're still in the infield. So we'll see how it does score out. Breifogel up by about 1 3/4 seconds. I don't see any kind of GT4 battle. Kyle might be able to get to Irby, but not quite sure. But that is the timer, and this is formally the white flag.
Adam Jones has not backed off one bit, Corey. He went diving, hit those rumble strips going into 1, all the way through the infield section, making that big boy go wide, not letting off the throttle, that's for sure.
Yeah, so while that's happening, Dahl is making the move for second. We'll see. He's definitely going to be in slipstream range, so it may be a photo finish for second. We'll try to focus on that as we do call the victory, because Adam Jones, he did the classic spin and win. Had the lead, lost it, dropped back 5 seconds, slowly got it back, and then once he got it back, he pulled away with a vengeance. Adam Jones is going to win here at the Homestead Roval for the GT4 Series. Now let's see if Dahl is going to be able to take the lead. He's going to have the run off of 4. Is he going to be able to get it at the stripe for second? Not quite. Berry will hang on. And then TCR is still going right now, and Breifogel's up by 1.5 seconds or so. So here he is on the backstretch for the final, well, the genuine backstretch for the final time.
Yeah, he's on cruise control right now, Corey. Got a great lead over Knight and Irby. I think they're going to be pretty spread out, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, indeed. I don't see a TCR battle lined up, but Breifogel was about 4th or 5th for most of the first stint. Managed to take advantage of pit stops, and he's going to win tonight for TCR. Phenomenal race at Homestead. No real big crashes, Tyler. These guys know how to race. These guys know how to be clean, and definitely put on a show for us. Remember, they're still cruising. They do have to get back to the pits under power to avoid penalties. So you do see them driving along to conclude that goal. But while they're doing that, let's go ahead and give you the final results here from the Homestead Miami Speedway. With tonight's overall win, as we saw, Adam Jones, the classic spin and win here tonight. He is going to get it by 7 seconds over David Berry in second. Terry Dahl went from the pole, led a lot. He will have to settle for the third here tonight. Ed Sutcliffe in fourth. James Prostel Jr. in fifth. And then we had Reed Rundle and Dwayne McCarthy, 6th and 7th. And then for the top 3 in TCR, Breifogel with the victory, Knight in second, and Irby in third.
Yeah, just a great performance by Breifogel. You know, he was kind of under the radar there the first half of the race, I felt like, but through you know, some pit strategy and then just great drive.
Totally forgot to cut you off there, Studs. So we're going to step aside for a brief moment, get ready for these guys for post-race interviews, so hang with us. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. All right, back here on PTR TV, and I have caught up with our overall winner here tonight, Adam Jones. Adam, you did the classic spin and win. It was a tight battle, a lot of drafting, but after pit stops, you were able to set sail and pull away by about 6 seconds. Talk about your race, man.
Oh, I had issue after issue. My VR headset would lose center about every lap. So every straightaway, I was having to reset it back to straight again. So that was rough.
Battles.
But it worked out.
Yeah, I'm a VR user as well. I feel the pain, but
yeah, it's tough.
But like I said, you had the classic spin and win here today. Talk about that. We kept calling it the flick. I don't know what else to call it. That little infield left and right leading onto the first straightaway in the infield. Talk about what caused that spin and what was your emotions trying to make it up and ultimately get to where you finished here tonight.
No, I was trying to give the car to my right plenty of room, and I just got a little bit too far left and dipped the tire and right when I hit the brake, so it just sent it around. But I knew it wasn't bad. I didn't lose a ton of time from it just because of where it was at. So I knew if I got it back on the track, I'd be good. So it worked out good.
Yes, it did for you. You got the victory here tonight, and if memory serves, I think we're going to Winton next week. How do you feel about going there to a relatively new track?
I've never been there before, so I have no idea what to think.
Makes two of us. I don't even own it yet, so I guess we'll find out together, man. Any shout-outs or thanks you want to give?
Thanks to you guys for doing such a good broadcast, and thanks to the league for letting me join. I was referred here by Rex, and I'm glad he's in it. Seems like a real good league, and the guys run nice and clean. So I know they're looking for more drivers. So you guys sign up.
All right. Appreciate the sentiments. I'm sure they do as well. You have a good night, man.
Thank you.
And Tyler has caught up with our TCR winner here tonight of Jason Breifogel.
Hey, Jason, great job tonight with you here in Victory Lane. And, you started fourth, I believe. It seemed like you were under the radar the first half of the event, but the second half, you just stormed to the front. How was it out there?
Hard to pass. And I kind of have to say sorry to Rex because I bumped in there in turn one that took out two of the competition, or it would have been a whole lot harder.
Well, we understand that. There was hard racing throughout the field, and we noticed a lot of these drivers were trying to stay in the draft, especially on the oval portion of this venue. Do you think the draft was very important, or what was just your overall strategy for this race?
I didn't have an overall strategy, but I kind of knew that the draft and getting into turn one was going to be important because that's the best place to try and pass.
All right. Well, anyone you'd like to shout out to tonight?
Hey, just my employer, iRacing, for doing all this because we're having so much fun doing it.
All right, Jason. Well, great job tonight. Stormed the front, and good to have you in the touring car Victory Lane.
All right, thank you. Great.
I knew I saw that name on the forum somewhere. I had no I didn't know he was staff beforehand, but now that I see the name, I'm like, I knew I've seen that name on the forums before. So, what do you know? Even this league is so great, even staff is joining it. So,
that's right.
But either way, Tyler, it's getting good to have you back with me for a one-off, and you picked a great race to come back to. Again, Homestead, the Roval. We saw so much good action, so much back and forth, primarily in the first half of the race, but the cream always does rise to the top, and obviously Jones and Breifogel were the best ones out there tonight.
No, this was really a blast to be a part of. Breifogel, great comeback from him, and of course Adam Jones, just dominant performance, really just got away from the rest of the field in GT4. But I've had a lot of fun tonight up here in the booth with you.
Yeah, most certainly the case, and I have as well. So we'll be back with you at Winton, and as I believe it was Jones said, he doesn't own the track and he hasn't been there yet. So we're going to learn that place together next week. So make sure you like and subscribe for that. Subscribe to the channel. We are in our battle to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the summer. If we do that, we'll have a big giveaway. So make sure you do that, nice and free. Just got to click 2 buttons at the bottom of this video, and you'll help us with that goal. But it's going to be Corey and Tyler signing out of the booth here tonight. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.